From cash to Bitcoin, are we heading towards a cryptocurrency future? Well, we've been talking about this for years, about the importance of cash versus Bitcoin, how cash is an ability for people to spend money, which they're trying to tighten up. Bitcoin is a people to spend money as pseudo-anonymous, but cash is truly anonymous. Will Bitcoin finally eliminate cash? Normally, I would say no, but I think we're getting closer now than we were before. And I'm still not sure it's a good thing. I do think that the Lightning Network is more anonymous than Bitcoin, but it's still pseudo anonymous. Cash, say what you will about it, it's really anonymous. You know, I got money from the ATM. I gave it to the guy to pick up my junk from the front yard. Junk is gone. Cash is gone. The deal is over. I have no idea who that guy was. I can't go back years later and show a record of it. Much worse, a digital record in a database with hundreds of other records, as Rodolfo was talking about. Michael Saylor and other people are hoarding these white label, these fresh Bitcoins, come direct from the miner, never been sent around, never dirty like the cash. We all know that story from Washington, D.C. about how, I don't know, 1 in every 10 bill had cocaine on it, blah, blah, blah. And also how dirty money is, just filthy and physically dirty. Now think about that. If you had it in a database, you could tell who had the cocaine at every level. You could tell who had the dirty hands. You could tell who had the donut that morning. You can get an incredible amount of money, or sorry, incredible amount of information, or practically the same thing, when you have a database, when I can line up your cash transactions with your credit, with your movement, with all the other information I can get about you. So getting rid of cash, while it sounds good and technological, and all the iPhones have little wallets on them now, so you don't need to carry around your wallet and all those annoying old-fashioned bills. We should keep an eye on cash and think about what we're losing, what we're giving up. It was a very private medium. Rodolfo, your thoughts on Bitcoin versus cash?
Yes, we go back to privacy. This is again the discussion on privacy. Yes, it's not. I think that Bitcoin does hold most of the cash properties, but not the 100% privacy and none. It's not about recording. It's about how much you can watch about what's being recorded. No, because again, if you sort of do transactions via Lightning Network, yes, most of them won't go finally to the well, most of them, no, any Lightning Network transaction will finally be in the Bitcoin network. Yes, they will occur all on offsite nodes, and eventually those recordings of the nodes are individual. They are not like open and shareable. So I guess that Bitcoin does have the quality of being one of the good things of cash is the physical aspect. And the only thing in this physical aspect, the only relevant aspect of physical things is that they can't be in the same place at the same time. Yes, two different elements in the same place at the same time. And Bitcoin created this scarcity, because it's not only scarcity, it's scarcity, but this asset that can be twice spent, twice the same. So it's like as every Satoshi is as unique as one currency bill. Yes. So this is one of the things that digital money is not. We all know this is not news for anyone listening this, but this is one of the things. It's just like having currencies. Just when you give me $100, the only way of getting it back is menacing you and telling me, give it to me, or stealing your wallet. But it's not like digital currency. Yes. So, but it has history. I think that as long as we move on, history, we are seeing it in Lightning Network, but eventually Stubs and Mass and others, yes, solutions, we will start seeing less history into the Bitcoin transactions. If this comes with also a support from the whole ecosystem, where we have forks, or I don't know, this is the other discussion we had before. But I think this is something that will occur, and Bitcoin will be at the same level than cash eventually, also on that aspect, with the benefits of being digital, which you can't have, because you said the guy who is moving my loan or taking out the garbage, yes? But now you could be talking about that guy in Europe, you being in US, no? Giving him the cash that has no trails. So I think it's like, okay, this and that, but we will move into a more non-traceable solutions, yes. Though the big ones, Zcash and others, can be discussed if they are or they are not, Monero, Zcash, they were not as successful as, or they didn't find the same use case and use acceptance as others, no? But I think we will move into more private, eventually, transactions. Also, this being said, the article that you was discussing today, or I was shared for this talk, it talked about what's happening in Salvador or what's happening in other places. Yes, and you can see I was sharing with you earlier today, no, that for example in Argentina there is a city called San Martín de los Andes, and I was surprised to listen the other day that one of the companies, Lemon Cash, it's a local company, yes, actively moving now in Latin America, and before becoming this Lemon Cash, they had this project about helping San Martín de los Andes, which is very touristic, yes, to go into crypto payments, and almost 70% of the hotels, restaurants, kiosks, etc., are taking Bitcoin there as a payment. So Lightning Network in the middle also, no? So I mean, it flows. I mean, I see that it could eventually happen. It could eventually be adopted as cash, as long as we solve these other tracing problems.
Yeah, it's interesting the way these were two totally different issues, but everything seems to come back to privacy. I remember when we were trying to solve the scaling problem and everyone was like, what about privacy? And we're like, just let us get scaling under our feet. Let us get a secure foundation to build upon, and then we'll go to privacy. But who knew the shift would happen so fast when suddenly just the Senate's after us, the cash people are after us. But if we had that privacy, we could change this. We could turn it all around.
The discussion is harder. Yes, scaling, we all need it. We all decide that eventually it's not about it's scaling. I think we all agree we need to scale. Yes, we were discussing if you see the first layer or the second layer. We were discussing if we were doing it now or we do it later once we have do all the compression possible in the actual layer. Yeah. So the scaling was not it was a big debate, but somehow, yes, it was about something that we all agree. It's just about when. Yes. Privacy, we do agree, but in different kind of levels and in different kind of, if you think about second layers and third layers, they're all government somehow influenced. Yes. It's not protocol. It's not the open protocol layer. So on that, when you are talking about that, which makes things to flow and allows you to pay to the final market, allows you, privacy is not as relevant or as important from everyone, or some institutional investors mainly might not be as concerned. So I think this discussion is much harder, much worse than the one we had before. Yes,
I think so. I think you're right. Before, even though we had the disagreement with Bitmain and they might have been making more money on the chips or whatever that muddied the water, I agree. Everyone wanted to scale. Everyone wanted a different plan to scale. With privacy, everyone wants some privacy, but they certainly don't want that total privacy. And this goes back to the foundations of the very idea of digital money. If you remember when they created PayPal, PayPal at first kind of wanted to be like Bitcoin, where they had a token that would go from many computers, and you could run a PayPal wallet on your computer and I could run one on mine. And they quickly figured out that you and I could pay each other for anything we wanted. And while that sounds great, if you look at it from a company perspective, they would be potentially liable for all of those payments. So if we went and paid somebody for something bad, PayPal would be liable. So in that same way, people like Saylor and maybe Jack Dorsey might have to back away from Bitcoin if it becomes too private, and they might use their power to prevent it from becoming too private. So it really is, once again, back to the programmers, back to the users, back to the miners, the groups of Bitcoin, to see where it goes.